up, my YouTubers? It's Jennifer, and today I'm coming at you with a fun quiz. So I thought it would be fun to do a personality quiz. If you were wondering what a personality quiz is, well, there are several different ones all over the internet. So the one that I am talking about today is the 16 different personality quiz, which I will hopefully remember to link below. And it's the one that's like the INTP, the INTJ, the 16 personality quizzes. I have actually taken this quiz several times throughout the years. So I think this is either number 4 or 5, the fourth or fifth time that I'm taking this quiz. And the first time I took this quiz was back in high school. It was one of those fun quizzes, kind of like the IQ test, to kind of steer you in the right direction for a career path. So like, let's say I wanted to be a lawyer when I was little. Well, some of these questions may not steer me in a lawyer direction. And then I took it in my early 20s, and I took it for a psychological exam that I had to do. And I think I took it in my early 30s. And I'm 38 now, so we'll see if I get the same answers or same personality. My personality trait that I used to have was ENTJ. And that supposedly is the commander. With the commander, you are more of like a CEO or a business leader of some sorts, or a doctor. Clearly, I am one of those people. But I am very curious because over the years, out of all the drama and stuff that I've been through, how I have managed to still get ENTJ. I don't know why. I guess I'm just born to be that. So I figured that I'm going to go ahead and do these questionnaires. So I will be reading the questions out loud. Hopefully, I will not overthink these questions. I'm just going to go through them. Now, the site that I am using has 3 agrees: extreme, medium, and low. Then you have neutral. Then same with the disagree: low, medium, and high. So on that note, we are going to begin, shall we? All right. All right. So question number 1 is, you regularly make new friends. I would say medium agree. You spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. 1000% agree. Seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too. I will say medium disagree. You often make a backup plan for a backup plan. 1000% agree. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. And this is my first, I'm going to overthink it. I'm going to say medium agree. I'm just not even going to overthink it. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to say medium agree. At social events, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. I'm going to say low disagree. Oh, wait. At social events, you rarely try to introduce yourself. I'm going to say low disagree. You prefer to completely finish one project before starting another. Completely finish. I'd say medium disagree. You are very sentimental. Medium agree. You like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists. 1000% agree. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. I will say medium agree. That's the second one I would overthink. That's the second one I would overthink. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. Medium agree. You are not too interested in discussing various interpretations and analysis of creative works. I would say medium disagree. Medium disagree. You are more inclined to follow your head than your heart. I would say low disagree. That one I'm overthinking. I had to think. I'm like, no thinking. Just answer. You usually prefer just doing what you feel like at any given moment instead of planning particular routine. 1000% disagree. You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on people you meet. 1000% disagree. You enjoy participating in group activities. I will say, see, I'm overthinking this one. No, answer, just answer. I'm going to say medium agree. Medium agree. You like books and movies that make you come up with your own interpretation of the ending. I'm going to say low agree. Your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish things than your own accomplishments. I'll say low agree. I'll say low agree. It's so hard not to overthink these questions, you guys. You are interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next. 1000% agree. You are prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. 1000% agree. You avoid leadership roles in group settings. I would say medium disagree. You are definitely not an artistic person. I would say 1000% disagree. You think the world would be a better place if people relied more on rationality and less on their feelings. I would say medium agree. You prefer to do your own chores before allowing yourself to relax. 1000% agree. You enjoy watching people argue. Medium agree. You tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself. Medium disagree. Your mood can change very quickly. 1000% agree. You lose patience with people who are not as efficient as you. I'm overthinking it. I'm going to say medium agree. I'm overthinking it. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. Medium disagree. You have always been fascinated by the question of what, if anything, happens after death. Medium agree. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. Low disagree. You become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. I would say 1000% disagree. You find it easy to empathize with a person whose experiences are very different than yours. I would say low disagree. Low disagree. You usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible. Medium disagree. You rarely second guess the choices that you have made. That's 1000% disagree. After a long and exhausting week, a lively social event is just what you need. I will say medium disagree. I'm totally overthinking that one. You enjoy going to art museums. I'm going to put neutral. That's the first neutral. I'm going to put neutral. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. Low agree. You like to have a to-do list for each day. 1000% agree. You rarely feel insecure. 1000% disagree. You avoid making phone calls. Medium agree. You often spend a lot of time trying to understand the views, but you often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own. I will say medium agree. In your social circle, you are often the one who contacts your friends and initiates activities. I'm overthinking it, but I will say medium agree. I'll say medium agree. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. I'm overthinking it. Oh my God. These are hard now. I will say medium agree. You are still bothered by mistakes that you made a long time ago. 1000% agree. You rarely contemplate the reasons for humans' existence or meaning of life. 1000% disagree. Your emotions control you more than you control them. Medium agree. You take great care not to make people look bad, even when it is completely their fault. Medium disagree. Your personality work style is closer to spontaneous burst of energy than organized and consistent efforts. I will say medium agree. When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take them to feel disappointed in you. Medium agree. When you love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. Oh, you would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. I'd say I'm overthinking it. I would say low agree. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. Medium disagree. You feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmospheres than the quiet, intimate places. I'd say medium agree. You know at first glance how someone is feeling. I'm overthinking this one. I'll say medium agree. I'll say medium agree. You often feel overwhelmed. 1000% agree. Not due to pregnancy. You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. Medium disagree. Medium disagree. You are very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. I'll say medium agree. You would pass along a good opportunity if you thought someone else needed it more. I'll say low agree. I'll say low agree. You struggle with deadlines. Low agree. You feel confident that things will work out for you. Medium disagree. All right. This is funny. I wish my other camera was working. Yet again, at 38 years old, I got the Commander. ENTJ-T. So let me read you what this is. Commanders are bold, imaginative, and strong-willed, always finding a way or making one. So still, either 4 or 5 times I've taken this quiz, I still get the Commander. That is hilarious. I am 60% extroverted. Extroverted individuals really enjoy group activities and value social interactions. They tend to be outwardly enthusiastic and express their excitement. 40% introverted. Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. I'm 79% intuitive and 21% observant. So intuitive individuals are very imaginative, open-minded, and curious. They value originality and focus on hidden meanings and distinct possibilities. That's about right. 59% thinking, 41% feeling. That one surprises me because I feel like my emotions, I'm overly emotional, not due to pregnancy, just, Thinking individuals focus on objectivity and rationality, often dismissing emotions in favor of logic. They tend to see effectiveness as more important than social harmony. Okay, see, when it explains it, they tend to see effectiveness as more important than social harmony. That I do agree with. That I do agree with because the overall effectiveness, that I agree on. I'm 69% judging and 31% prospecting. Judging individuals are decisive. That's funny. Thorough, and highly organized. They value clarity, predictability, and closure, preferring structure and planning to spontaneity. Okay, see, I'm very indecisive. I guess I would say I'm very indecisive, but then again, when I want something, I have the drive and nothing can deter me from that drive towards that goal. So I guess, the decisiveness. Thorough and highly organized. I have to be organized. I'm ADHD. If I'm not organized, I'm losing my freaking mind. Predictability and closure. Clarity. Preferring structure. A lot of that, I think I prefer structure because of the ADHD. You have to be structured. You have to have a plan. You have to be very, So I do agree with that. I like surprises, but I don't like to be spontaneous. I always, that's a lovely always, have had to have a plan ever since I was little. I don't know if that's because that's how my mom raised us. My mom was a single mom, and we were in sports, we were in school. She was in college. She was taking care of her mom who was sick. So I don't know if being raised to plan everything and have a backup plan to your backup plan. But I've been planning since probably I was like little. So, and I always have a backup plan. And when things go awry, like if I get a flat tire all of a sudden, it just throws off my entire day. Mind, even if it's simple, even if I know I can either call AAA or change the tire myself, because I can change the tire myself, it literally throws off my entire day. My whole entire day is ruined. It's, yeah. I'm 80% turbulent. Yes. And I'm sorry, I'm 88% turbulent and 12% assertive. Turbulent individuals are self-conscious and sensitive to stress. They feel a sense of urgency in their emotions and tend to be success-driven, perfectionism, and eager to improve. That is so true. Yes. And the stress part, I can thrive in work environment, stressful situations. Like when I'm when I work back at the house at a restaurant and we were short staffed, I can thrive in that moment. If we get slammed and all of a sudden, like, we have no staff and we get slammed, I can thrive under that stress. But when it comes to personal stress, forget it. I can't deal with personal stress. I love this part. They feel a sense of urgency in their emotions. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. Okay, that's all of it. So, and then it just says if you want to email your results to yourself, you can. Okay, so I don't know if taking that quiz was a look into my life or not, but you guys have watched enough of my vlogs by now, hopefully. If you haven't watched my vlogs since like day one of, like, I think back in 2018 or something, when I very first made my vlog, you guys can kind of see how my personality is still the same. But doing the pregnancy vlogs, that's hilarious. I cannot believe after all these years, and after all of everything I have been through, I still get ENTJ-T, the commander. It didn't really give me like a career type of wise, but I just wanted to see if I got the same thing. So if you enjoyed this mini quiz video, like I said, I will try to remember to link it below for you guys. Hit that big thumbs up for me. Take the quiz and comment below what you guys got, because I'm curious. Have you guys ever taken one of these quizzes? If you have, or your answer is going to be the same as the last time you took it. It's fun to do these quizzes every so many years just to see how your personality changes, because I know sometimes with trauma and certain things, your personality can change, but I know this is kind of like who you truly are. I just find it funny. It's like it nailed me. All right, so that's it for the questions, and that's it for the description. And afterwards, it gives you like your introduction. So I'm going to go ahead and read this part. Commanders are natural-born leaders. People with this personality type embody the gifts of charisma and confidence. Really? I have confidence? And project authority in a way that draws crowds together behind a common goal. Sorry. Didn't mean to scream there. However, commanders are also characterized by an often ruthless level of rationality, using their drive, determination, and sharp minds to achieve whatever end they must set for themselves. True. Perhaps it is best that they make up only 3% of the population. 3% of the population. Yay. Lest they overwhelm and more timid and sensitive personality types that make up much of the rest of the world. But we have commanders to thank for many of the businesses and institutions we take for granted every single day. Striving for greatness. If there's anything commanders love, it's a good challenge, big or small. And they firmly believe that given enough time and resources, they can achieve any goal. This quality makes people with the commander personality type brilliant entrepreneurs, and their ability to think strategically and hold long-term focus while executing each step of their plans with determination and precision makes them powerful business leaders. This determination is often self-fulfilling prophecy, as commanders push their goals through with sheer willpower where others might give up and move on. And their extroverted nature means that they are likely to push everyone else right along with them, achieving a particular results in the process. There's a good word. Particular. Yes. At the negotiating table, be it in a corporate environment or buying a car, commanders are dominant, relentless, and unforgiving. Not true with buying a car, but I'm not a good bargainer, we'll put it that way. This isn't because they are cold-hearted or vicious, per se. It's more that commander personalities genuinely enjoy the challenge, the battle of wits, the repertoire that comes, it's REPRTEE, that comes from this environment. And if the other side can't keep up, there's no reason for commanders to fold on their own core tenet of ultimate victory. If there's anyone commanders respect, it's someone who is able to stand up to them, to tell them intellectually, who is able to act with a precision and quality of equal of their own. Commander personalities have a particular skill in recognizing the talents of others, and this helps in both their team building efforts, since no one, and no matter how brilliant, can do anything alone, and to keep commanders from displaying too much arrogance and condescendence. However, they also have a particular skill in calling out others' failures with a chilling degree of insensitivity, and this is where commanders really start to run into trouble. A worthy challenge. Emotional expressions isn't the strong suit of any analyst type, but commanders' distance from their emotions is especially public and felt directly by much broader swath of people, especially in a professional environment. Commanders will simply crush the sensitivities of those they view as inefficient, incompetent, or lazy. To people with commander personality type, emotional displays are displays of weakness, and it's easy to make enemies with this approach. Commanders will do well to remember that they absolutely depend on having a functioning team, not just to achieve their goals, but for their validation and feedback as well, something commanders are curiously and very sensitive to. Commanders are true powerhouses. They cultivate in an imagine of being larger than life. Often enough they are. They need to remember, though, that their stature comes not just from their own actions, but from the actions of the team that props them up. And that is important to recognize the contributions, talents, and needs, especially from emotional perspective of their support network. Even if they have to adopt a fake it till you make it mentality, if commanders are able to combine an emotionally healthy focus alongside their many strengths, they will be rewarded with deep, satisfying relationships and all the challenging victories they can handle. Okay, strengths and weaknesses. Strengths and weaknesses. Let's see. Commanders' strengths first. Efficient. Commanders see inefficiency not just a problem in its own right, but as something that pulls time and energy away from their future goals. An elaborate sabotage consisting of irrationality and laziness, people with commander personality types will root out such behavior wherever they go. Okay. I do kind of agree with that one. Energetic. Rather than finding this process taxing, commanders are energized by it, genuinely enjoying leading their teams forward as they implement their plans and goals. I agree on that one. Self-confident. Commanders couldn't do this if they were plagued by self-doubt. They trust their abilities and make known their opinions and believe in their capabilities as leaders. I don't agree with that one because I do doubt myself quite a lot. I've doubted myself a lot. Unless it's something that I really, really know how to do, like when I would train people in restaurants or I would train people in housekeeping. Since it's something that I knew how to do, then I have full on confidence that I could train them properly and strong-willed, nor do they give up when the going gets tough. Commander personalities strive to achieve their goals, but really nothing is quite as satisfying to them as raising the challenge of each obstacle in their run to the finish line. True. Strategic thinkers. Commanders amplify the difference between moment-to-moment crisis management and navigating the challenges and steps of a bigger plan, and are known for examining every angle of a problem and not just resolving momentary issues, but moving the whole project forward with their solution. I would say true, because I'm constantly trying to figure out how to solve a problem. I mean, you guys could see that in my pregnancy vlogs with the finances and stuff. Charismatic, and inspiring. These qualities combine to create individuals who are able to inspire and invigorate others, who people actually want to be their leaders. And this helps this in turn helps commanders to accomplish their often ambitious goals that could never be finished alone. Commanders' weaknesses. Stubborn and dominant. Sometimes all this confidence and willpower can go too far, and commanders are all too capable of digging in their heels, trying to win every single debate and pushing their vision and theirs alone. Yep, I think Jim will definitely agree on that one. Same with my mom. Intolerant. It's my way or the highway. People with commander personality types are notoriously unsupportive of any idea that distracts from their primary goals, and even more so of ideas based on emotional considerations. Commanders won't hesitate a second to make their fact clear to those around them. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Impatient. Some people need more time to think than others. An intolerable delay to quick thinking commanders. They may misinterpret contemplation as stupidity or disinterest in their haste. A terrible mistake for a leader to make. Arrogant. Commander personalities respect quick thoughts and firm convictions of their own qualities, and look down on those who don't match up. This relationship is a challenge for most other personality types who are perhaps not timid in their own right, but will seem to beside overbearing commanders. I wouldn't consider myself arrogant, to be honest. When you train somebody and they're not... Okay, if you train, for example, when I would train somebody in restaurants, right? And they don't do it the way I train them, or the way, like how I was trained, or certain things. It's like, that's a bad example. I don't know. I'm just like, okay. Poor handling of emotions. All this bluster, alongside the assumed supremacy of rationalism, makes commanders distant from their own emotional expression. Disagree. And sometimes downright, I don't know where that accent came from, downright scornful of others. People with this personality type often trample others' feelings, inadvertently hurting their partners and friends, especially in an emotional charged situation. That is true. That is true. And it's funny how that is put in there, because I have been diagnosed with BPD, which is borderline personality disorder. And a lot of things that we do in that disorder, we don't mean to do, especially subconsciously hurting other people. Like when we get through a blind rage moment and we attack people, either verbally or physically. That's interesting. Cold and ruthless. Their obsession with efficiency and unwavering belief in the merits of rationalism, especially professionally, makes commanders incredibly insensitive in pursuing their goals, dismissing personal circumstances, sensitivities, and preferences as irrational or irrelevant. Hold on. Cold and ruthless. Their obsession with efficiency and unwavering beliefs in merits of rationalism, especially professionally, makes commanders incredibly insensitive to pursuing their goals, dismissing personal circumstances. Okay, I was trying to. I had to read it again because I was reading it and not understanding it. Okay, I was trying to see if I agree or disagree because I guess if I have a goal and nothing's going to stand in my way of my goal, what? Okay. Romantic relationships. This should be interesting. All right. Let's see. Romantic relationships. As in other areas of their lives, commanders approach dating and relationships with a set of goals and a plan to achieve them, and proceed to do so with impressive energy and enthusiasm. People with commander personality types are in it to win and will gladly take leading roles in relationships from the start, assuming a personal responsibility for how smoothly things go and working actively to ensure a mutually rewarding experience. Romantic relationships are serious business and commanders are in it for the long haul. I mean, I'm a Scorpio, so that doesn't help either. Taking the lead. This sense of personal responsibility means that commanders put a lot of energy into their relationships, and they show their creativity by always having something new on the agenda to keep things interesting, especially in the dating phase. At the same time, though, commander personalities keep their eyes on the long term, and if they determine that the relationship is heading towards a dead end, they will cut off their losses and move on in what seemed to their partner as an abrupt end to attention they had been receiving. That also is a borderline trait too, because we have a fear of abandonment. Like, we don't want others to leave us, but we can easily cut ties with people and just, ghost them basically and say bye. So that's, This occasionally ruthlessness with personal relationships is commanders' primary weakness. And if they aren't careful, they can develop quite the reputation. Sensing others' feelings and emotions will never be a comfortable skill for commanders. But it's critical that they work consciously to develop it, both for their partner's sake and for their own healthy emotional expression. If they don't, they risk dominating and overruling their partners. And this insensitivity can easily break a relationship early, especially on. I do agree with that one. I have been getting a lot better. I am one, when I've ever been in a relationship, I always think of long-term goals and I see out the relationship as far as I possibly can. And that's kind of stupid to do. You don't want to completely look so far in the future and then all of a sudden be disappointed when that future doesn't happen. But with me and Jim, we are a really good balance. He knows my emotion, my overreactive, over emotional side of me, and he can kind of keep me in reality, I guess, because my head tends to overthink everything. So, and I go above and beyond. When I'm in a relationship, especially now, I will try to do everything in my power for that person. And I will sacrifice my own needs to make them happy. So, which proves this point. This is the next part. Loving boldly. But as all goes well in the dating phase and the future is deemed viable, people with commander personality type continue to impress with their creative energy. Their authentic confidence makes commander sex life a dynamic, to say the least, and they often push to explore new ways to express their affection and imaginative enthusiasm. Yet, commanders tend to have these innovations planned in advance, with some structure and predictability to their sex lives, leaving the true spontaneity to those less organized personality types. Interesting. Commanders are extremely growth-oriented and will seize any opportunity to improve themselves, listening to and acting on criticism so long as they are logical ones, and always striving to improve their knowledge. At the same time, commanders expect this of their partners, and it is surprising to them that others don't always share this attitude. Still more surprising to the commanders' personalities is others' active efforts to avoid these situations. Okay. Commanders in particular would do well to remember that their approach is just one angle of a multifaceted spectrum of alternatives. While commanders may view criticism as most efficient route, and they're often right, they should bear in mind that their partners may be more interested in emotional support and growth, an area of self-improvement commanders themselves too often avoid. I will say that, like yesterday, Jim came home from work, and I said something that I didn't realize until I was just reading that. That's interesting, because I was saying how sometimes I feel like Jim is much more like clingy and happy and like always wanting to be on top of me, and I'm more like it's like he's the female of the relationship in the emotional part, and I'm like the male. I don't know how to describe it. It's not the fact I don't care. It's not the fact that I don't want to be clingy. It's just the fact that like I'm so like this all the time that it takes me a while to actually calm down. And once I actually do calm down, then it's like I'm so attached to him. I don't want to like let him go. It's hard to explain, but when I was reading that brought that reminded me of last night. As with other analyst types, commanders' best matches are with other intuitive N types with one or two opposing traits to create more balance in the relationship. Mature commanders are able to recognize and adapt to the needs of their partners. True. And know that even the most rational individuals have emotional needs that must be met. Fortunately, the same logic that dismisses emotions is also able to recognize that a conciliatory attitude can be the best tool to get the job done. With their strong senses of responsibility and dedication, people with commander personality type are sure to make an effort, resulting in long-lasting, satisfying relationships. I will say that. Okay, so that's what I was talking about. Like, I wouldn't consider myself more logical than emotional. I think it's because I'm so overly emotional and I don't know how to control my emotions that I bottle them all up to an extent. And I always want to like do this, and he's more, let's just relax and do this, if that makes any sense. It's hard to explain, but okay. All right, we left off on friendships. So, ENTJs, aka the commander, and friendships. As in most aspects of their lives, in friendship, commanders seek personal growth and inspiration, and they often have a plan for how they accomplish it. Friendships of circumstance built on things like shared routines are not commanders' preferred method. Rather, they pursue their friends, seek out individuals who share their passion for deep, meaningful discussions and who enjoy learning and development as much as they do. It is not always easy for commanders' friends. They demand a lot of these relationships, but they pay a great deal of attention to their friendships, and it is unlikely that they will ever feel stagnant. Commander friendships are built on ideas and a lot of what they find enjoyable. In the repartee of putting thoughts forward and defending them from assault from every angle. People with commander personality type are very smart and highly critical, and they won't back down if they are put on the defensive. In fact, there's no better way to earn their respect. Oh, yeah. Only the most hardened rationalists are able to hold their ground against strongly expressed commander personalities, who neither need emotional support nor understand others' need for it. False. I do need emotional support. This lack of sensitivity in commanders' chiefest weakness, their tendency to challenge their friends, question their conclusions, and dismiss emotional arguments as irrelevant, is especially difficult feeling-oriented friends to cope with. Either a point is supported by logic and reason, or it is erogenous. Okay. The only way I can say I agree to this is when me and Jim argue and I'm being overreactive. I overreact. I'm being, I want to say irresponsible. What's called illogical. Basically, I'm just flipping out and I'm not being grounded. That's what I was going for earlier. I'm not grounding myself. He tends to be the logical one and say, like he doesn't say, look at how you're acting. He basically just, has a way with words where he psychologically says, look at how you're acting. Like you're acting like a child, grow up. He does when he gets frustrated, tell me that I'm acting like a child and to grow up. And that's just a logical thing to say. Because I'm an adult and I should not throw tantrums anymore. But when I get to a point, I do have emotional outburst and I do act like a child. But yes, I do see where they say that you need a logical person to, bridging the gap. More enlightened commanders recognize that if ever there was an area where they could learn from others and improve themselves, it is a realm of emotional sensitivity. To dismiss any aspect of personal growth borders on hypocrisy. Friendships with people from diplomat type group can be especially rewarding for commanders, as the shared intuitive and trait fosters an strenuous connection that can bridge the chasm between their uninhabited logic and recognition that cooperation and consolation can often accomplish more than that logic ever could alone. Yeah. Still, the bold commander's friends will likely fall into analyst category, as all of these types share the same passion for logical, far-reaching ideas and critical debate. Anyone who can match commander's ability to brainstorm and theorize, I can't even say that word, will find an honest and dedicated friend. Anyone who can't or won't, as with many more down-to-earth types who often question the point of such discussions, will find themselves ignored, perhaps a situation that's best for everyone. I can see that because I do challenge people and I do like more logical conversations. I mean, to me, they seem random. To me personally, my conversations seem very random. But there is a logic behind why I ask the questions. And some people just dismiss them, I guess. So, yeah. Now moving on to parenthood. This should be fun. This should be fun because I'm pregnant with triplets. And I didn't raise my son or my daughter. So this will be interesting to see how I will parent my kids. Or what it says I probably will parent my kids. As parents, most commanders must temper their strong-willed, hyper-logical approach to life. We'll go outside. Let's start over. As parents, most commanders must temper their strong-willed, hyper-logical approach to life in order to make room for their children's needs and feelings. This by no means suggests that people with the commander personality type are bad parents. Far from it. Simply that their relationships with children, who are typically more sensitive and less able to conduct truly rational analysis, require a great deal more emotional tact and personal liberty than they are accustomed to giving. See, that I slightly disagree because I am highly emotional. And I have gotten better on controlling my emotions, but sometimes I don't know how to control my emotions. So I'm a big kid at heart. And the perfect example is my niece, Gracie. I swear, we all think she has Asperger's, to be honest, but she tends to be very overly dramatic and overly emotional as well. She tends to, she's kind of like me at that age, only a little bit slower, if that makes sense. She's more ADD, but I can relate to her and I can help her calm down in a way that most people can't. Now my son, who's 13, I swear is too smart for his own good. I swear he's too smart for his own good. And I love talking to him about certain things, but sometimes we're both on that logical sense. And then Airly is just, she's like me. I mean, she's not overly emotional. She's just, yeah. But commanders are always up for a challenge and will take their roles as parents seriously and with the utmost sense of personal responsibility. Holding themselves to a higher standard than most, commander personalities see the success of their children as a reflection of their personal standards and want nothing more than to see them grow into smart, independent people who strive to achieve their goals. So true, so true. Establishing specific moral values is less important to commanders than cultivation of intelligent and independent rational thought. That's false, because I would say I would want them to have moral values over independent rational thought, but I do want them to be strong-willed in their opinion. I want them to be passionate, and I want them to stand their ground, and I want them to not back down when they want something. I want them to strive. Blaze is whining at the cat. So I guess I'm hit or miss with that one. Building emotional tolerance. Commanders welcome difference of opinion, and this is true with their children as well. But while gladly having rational, well-thought-out discussions about roles and responsibilities, at the end of the day, commanders expect their authority to be respected. True. Because me and Ben do have more of that rational conversations over me and Airly, but he's older, so a disagreement is no excuse for shrinking established responsibilities, and commander parents can utterly uncompromising in oh my god, and commander parents can be utterly uncompromising in maintaining this structure. This strictness can be a tremendous source of tension in the household. With little flexibility can go a long way. The way I'm reading this, to be honest, it sounds like I'm a type A personality, and I want my kids to strive to be that type A personality. Like, I want them to be the best in sports, the best in school, the best that they have to be. There's no leeway for any difference. There's no time or room for mistakes. That's the way I'm reading it, and that's not me. I want to teach my kids that it's okay to make mistakes. You know, you can make 1,000 mistakes as long as you try your hardest. That's all I care about. Just try your hardest, and if you succeed, great. If you don't, then don't get upset about it, because I was so critical of myself when I was little. My mom would tell me, even to this day, it's okay if you made this grade. If you tried your hardest and that's the best you can do, it's okay. And I never thought I was good enough. Even to this day, I don't think I'm good enough. So that's the way I'm reading that about commanders. So it'll be interesting to see how I raise these triplets. When these debates dissolve into emotional appeals is when the commander parents run into real trouble, as their persistent weakness with emotional tolerance makes dealing with growing children, especially adolescents, Ben and Airly, because Airly's about to be 10, their most significant challenge. As in their other relationships, commander parents should strive to strengthen this skill. Often enough, young children don't have the words to express their needs rationally, and adolescents don't have the patience for it. A perfectly natural condition. True. I do remember when Airly, well, let me read this first. Fostering independence. Commander parents should remember that part of developing that necessary sense of independence is being able to control one's own schedule and activities, to chart one's own course, at least to a certain extent. People with commander personality types will spare no effort for their children, but it's sometimes the case of taking a deep breath and loosening their structures as children grow and mature, does more to achieve their goal of raising capabilities, intellectual adults than forced extracurriculars ever could. Again, when I read that, I see type A personalities, but going back to the one above it with the young children don't know how to express their needs rationally. Yeah, I'm very intuitive on knowing when kids, like when Airly was little, obviously she couldn't express herself and express her needs, but I knew instinctively. I think that's because I'm her mom, and most moms, not all moms, but most moms have a connection with their kids where they can just sense what their kid needs, or if they're getting overwhelmed. I know when Airly would get upset, she would run into her room and slam her door, and I would always go. First, I would knock on her door because it is her room, and I'm that type of parent. I will knock first, and then I will enter. I'm not just going to barge in because I want them to know I am there at that door and I'm about to enter, even if it's my household, and I demand respect from you. But I would knock and then go into that room and say, hey, we do not slam doors in this house, because she lived with her grandparents. She was raised by her grandparents. And I would say, you do not slam doors in this house when you're upset. You will go out there and apologize to your grandmother. And I would say it in a very stern, assertive voice, because I wanted her to know that that's not acceptable. You do not disrespect adults in their household at all. So, and I still tell her that to this day. Hey, listen, do not disrespect. And that's where we clash, is because I'm trying to teach her how to respect elders. And I know she's 10. I know she's little. She's in a rebellion. She's going to be in a rebellion phase probably till she grows up. I was the same way. I was very, very such a brat. Career paths is next. All right. Career paths. All right. All right. Career paths is next. It is the world of careers that commanders' boldness and drive are truly at their best. No other personality type is better suited than commanders to be the respected leader of organization or a team, and no other personality type enjoys it quite so much. Combining their vision, intelligence, and determination to push ideas through to completion no matter the obstacles, commanders are forced to be recognized. I will say true because when I was shift leader at Flaming Amy's, I liked that role. But at the same time, I hated it because I can be a manager and I can be the boss. I just kind of like to be at the fly on the wall, if that makes sense. And just probably because I knew that like certain jobs that I've had, because I've been asked to be a manager at restaurants before. I've opened a lot of restaurants, and over time I have been asked by the GMs to be a manager or step up, and I turned it down because I didn't want that responsibility. It's not the fact that I couldn't do it, it's the fact that I just didn't want to. And I think, honestly, it's because I knew that it was a dead-end job. I wasn't going to be stuck in a management position, and then, I wanted to strive to be better. And yes, I could have been management and then stepped up to a GM and then stepped up, the line, but I didn't want to be stuck in one place forever. That's probably why I've had so many jobs. Now, working in restaurants can be a career path. I do understand it, not knock anybody, but I wanted something better for myself. I wanted something more for myself. I wanted to go back to school. I still strive on going back to school and getting a career. I mean, I'm 38 now. We'll see. And then I'm going to have triplets, so we'll see. A singular vision. In the world of business and the sometimes overbearing level of self-confidence that commanders, especially assertive ones, too often mishandle in their personal relationship, as transformed into admirable authority, keeping people on track and getting things done. Naturally, the best careers for people with the commander personality type make the fullest use of their qualities, and many would describe executive positions, entrepreneurism, wow, that's a really long word, to be ideal line of work. Any position high enough that they can clearly see the horizon. And I just described that. So there we go. Structure and order are key, and if someone gets sloppy or holds things back with incompetence, laziness, or inefficiency, commanders will not hesitate to come down hard. Commander personalities pursue their goals with singular vision and have strict standards for themselves and others that are designed above all else to be effective. This makes commanders excellent corporate strategists, and their objectivity and clarity of thought make them respected lawyers and judges. None of this could work if no one could understand that commanders were thinking. None of this could work if no one could understand what commanders were thinking. And they have the good fortune of being clear and concise communicators, especially in person, making business administration a comfortable fit. Which is funny because that's what I wanted to go to school for, was medical administration. So long as their tasks don't stray too far into routine maintenance and upkeep. Commanders also have a thirst for knowledge, and they aren't afraid to use a principle once they've grasped its underlying mechanisms. Combining this with their leadership makes commanders trying but effective university professors. I do like to teach people, so. Great expectations. The only problem is it takes time for commanders' skills to be recognized, and stagnating low-level employees will have them bouncing off the walls and deeply unhappy. People with commander personality type crave leadership and responsibility, growth and opportunity. I just explained that. And genuinely enjoying managing others to get the job done. Commanders are visionaries and leaders, not grunts or day-to-day administrators. Getting that to be recognized is not always easy, but commanders are probably up to the task. I was just talking about that. So I'm hit or miss with the not doing the grunt work. Sometimes I would prefer to do the grunt work. I would prefer to just do the background work. Like paralegals. Okay. For example, there was a time when I was little somewhere, and somebody said, "Why do you want to be a lawyer when you can do, if you love to research, you should be a paralegal?" And my very first thought was, well, they don't make crap. And then they overwork their paralegals why would you overwork for something when you could be at the top? And it's kind of like, what are they called? Journalists or news anchor people, they spend so many hours researching a story or something, and it's grunt work. I don't know. Sure. Workplace habits. Workplace habits. For people with commander personality type, the workplace is all but a natural habitat. Commanders' efficiency and clear communication are valued. Their leadership is admired, and their ability to simply get things done is unraveled. That being said, some situations are more appropriate for commanders than others. These qualities all point to basically manager or executive roles, making any position of comparative powerlessness highly undesirable. I kind of agree, because when I was shift leader, I did kind of like bossing people around and saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. Or I like being able to hand the reins over to some, like I was a day shift leader. So shift leader. I was the day shift leader. So when the night shift leader would come in, I liked handing the reins over to them and say, hey, this is what we got done today, and you can take over, because it was kind of like my job's done. Don't screw it up type of thing. But I was really good at, if there was something that needed to be done, to sit there and say, hey, we need to deep clean the ceilings there. We need to do this thing. Most of the time, to be honest, I would just do it myself, because I knew that sometimes they were lazy. Not all the time. They did a really good job there. The guys I worked with, they really did. They did a good job. They actually probably did more than I did, to be honest, but they worked there longer than I did. Commander subordinates. Subordinate positions are challenging for commanders, and it takes active management to ensure their satisfaction and engagement. Ever the high achievers, commanders' subordinates set out to learn new skills and to seek out new challenges and responsibilities, eager to prove that nothing is impossible with a little hard work. True. If things get a little slow, commander personalities may slip into periods of absent-mindedness, ADHD, but when they feel involved in projects around them, they prove well organized and prioritized. That is so true. That takes me back to when I was an event coordinator. So, yes, commanders hold themselves to very high standards, but a lot of what sets this tone is feedback from their environment. True, namely criticism from managers. Objective, rational statements about what is done right and what can be done better are helpful to commanders. True. And far from representing such criticisms, they appreciate them. I do love criticism. And I do tend to take that criticism no matter who it's from. It could be like in my personal life, like my mom, Jim, it doesn't matter. And I take it too harshly on the inside, but I rationally think it through. And I realize what they're saying, and I try to then improve it. And I think that's where the perfectionism comes in, because then I think, well, if they're criticizing me on this, because I could be doing this this way, or they're criticizing me, even if it's great criticism, if it's like, hey, you did a great job detailing, this, but we also need this done. I feel bad because I'm like, oh, well, I should have known, so it's, yeah. Where was I? Opportunities for growth keep people with commander personality type engaged and productive. And so long as their managers recognize this as a primary responsibility, it will be fruitful and satisfying relationship. True, I just said that. Commander colleagues. Among colleagues, commanders are sociable and greatly enjoy sharing ideas and critiques in their frequent brainstorming sessions. Natural leaders that they are, commanders tend to assert themselves into positions of representative and project leads. Considering their objectivity and charisma the perfect qualities for these roles. Commander personalities enjoy working with equals, but people must demonstrate that they are equals. True. Anyone commander views as being less competent or driven will see only condescension and arrogance. True. And I can think of a few people I've worked with. Yes. Commanders are strong-willed, even dominant. And though they enjoy inspiring and tutoring others, the energy they bring to the process can seem overbearing. When these roles are reversed, commanders' mentors should bear in mind that their students are very rational and respect firm confidence. Hand-holding, emotional appeals, or wavering indecision will likely burn the bridge then and there. In a partnership, what is best is what is most efficient, and time-wasted sugarcoating reality is just that, time-wasting. Okay, so when they say hand-holding, emotional appeals, or wavering indecision, students are very rational. Basically, it's saying how if I have any leader who's trying to teach me something, I want them to have confidence. I want them to be not I basically don't want them to be me. I want them to have confidence. I want them to be direct. I want them to be very thorough. Some people call those people assholes or bitches. So, but I want them to be very assertive. I don't want them to just say, hey, and coddle me. I want the directness. I don't want coddling when it's in a job. And sugarcoating reality is just that, a waste of time. I try not to sugarcoat anything. Even when my kids ask me something, I say, well, do you want my answer or the age-appropriate answer? Age-appropriate means sugarcoating all the details, because a lot of the times when they ask me questions, it's not age-appropriate, but if they want my answer, I will give them the true answer because they're going to Google it anyways. Commander managers. Commander managers are confident, charismatic, and communicators, and they communicate best with one vision: to get the job done as efficiently as possible. True. And to the highest standard of quality. True. All else is subordinate to that objective, but the means by which commanders achieve it cause others to adopt this cause as their own. Commanders are natural leaders, and their ability to formulate a strategy and to identify the strengths of each member of their teams, incorporating those abilities into plans so that each individual fills a unique and important role, makes them able motivators. But while these efforts boost morale and satisfaction amongst commanders, like-minded subordinates, they are still crafted to achieve that ultimate goal of timely and exceptional work. Those seen as insufficient by their commander managers, or who demonstrate themselves to be lazy or to produce shoddy work, will know in no uncertain terms a failure to impress. The only way to recover is to comply, and the only alternative is to find new manager to impress somewhere else. That's funny because when I'm reading that, there's a few incidents that I can think of, and the only thing I can think of is my when I was working at Flaming Amy's, because when I was day shift leader, and I would have some of the night shift guys come in during the daytime and work with me, and they knew they had to listen to me. And it's weird because I didn't know how to boss them around. It's like, I'm older, I'm the shift leader today, you have to listen to me. But they've worked there longer, so they kind of knew the routine. But it was kind of nice because we kind of flowed in a good way. Like, I would tell them, hey, this is how we're going to do it today, and they had to listen to me. But yet, I don't know how to describe it. I don't like lazy people. I do not. The best way to describe that part is when I worked at IHOP, and I worked first shift at IHOP, and I had to go in at 5 a.m. And third shift, when I basically had control over third shift. I had control over third shift, meaning that they were not allowed to leave the restaurant at all until their side work was done. And sometimes third shift would leave, and, well, I got their tips because, they left. Conclusion. Armed with a powerful intellect and strategic thinking, commanders can overcome or outmaneuver obstacles that seem unbeatable to most. At the same time, their many quirks seem such as often unconstrained rationalism lead to many misunderstandings. Those misunderstandings end here. What you have read so far is just an introduction. We have a great deal more to tell you about commander personality type. At some point in reading through your results, you probably hit a tipping point. You went from trademark commander, skepticism, to, wait, what? You may even be a little uncomfortable because you are really not used to being understood, even by people you are closest to. Chances are you've accepted that as a part of who you are and maybe even grown proud of it. But embracing that disconnection isn't a requirement for commanders. It's a misused defense mechanism, leading you down a lonely, inefficient path. Gaining insight into yourself and others is so much more rewarding. This is no date of birth gimmick. And no, we do not spy on you. Rather, we have spent years studying commanders' life stories, experiences, and patterns in hundreds of our surveys. Step by step, insight by insight, we discovered how those who share your qualities and outlooks have overcome the challenges they face. You are a unique individual, but you are not alone in this. It's wise to learn from others' experiences, and we'd really like to share those thoughts with you. As you move forward into the ebooks of interactive courses we'll go much deeper into Commander's mind. We answer not just the what, but why, how, what if, why do you act the way you do, how you find motivation and inspiration, what if you moved beyond fear to pursue what you secretly want to achieve in life. We can show you how to use your strengths to unlock the exceptional, blah, 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 blah. All right, so that's pretty much the conclusion is a lot of it I agree on, a lot of it I disagree on, and I know I kind of summarized it throughout the thing. So if you enjoyed part 3 of this entire personality quiz, hit that big thumbs up for me, please. And other than that, questions, comments, thoughts, confirms, or advice you can put below. And on that note, until next time,